The body of 14-year-old Glenn Dunn of Fougeron Street was discovered last night in this car in the parking lot of Tops Market on Genesee Street. Today's autopsy shows the young man was shot 3 times in the head and ear. A young man believed to be a suspect was seen running from the scene.
No, the description given by witnesses was very meager, except that it was a male, no description of color, dark blue jacket with a hood up over the head.
This hasn't been much help to you at present?
Not at the present time.
Donovan is not pointing to any geographic patterns in the shootings, although 2 occurred in Buffalo and 2 outside the city. All the shootings apparently took the victims by surprise in public places. On Buffalo's east side, 14-year-old Glenn Dunn shot in the head and chest while sitting alone in a car in a supermarket parking lot. Harold Green, critically injured while eating his lunch in a fast food parking lot. He remains critical. Back on the east side, the 3rd shooting. 30-year-old Emmanuel Thomas shot in the head while walking with friends on Zenner Street. And the 4th shooting in Niagara Falls. 43-year-old Joseph McCoy shot and killed while walking on 11th Street. Chief Donovan is making this plea to the killer or killers.
I would like to speak out to the person or persons responsible for these killings and offer the help that they may need. I know that this person, whoever it is, person or persons, must have serious problems, mental problems. And if we can help, if that person would contact us, he could be rest assured that he would get the necessary help that he needs.
Detectives from Buffalo, Cheektowaga, and Niagara Falls will meet again tomorrow to try and solve this rash of .22 caliber killings. Rich Newberg, News 4 Update. When you talk to people on Jefferson Avenue, you get a range of reactions and a range of theories. But there's one common denominator. Everybody is angry.
I feel it's a sin and shame that Buffalo police haven't did anything about this. Most black men in the neighborhood are really fear walking around now. They don't know when they can come out, day or night.
And, I think it's a conspiracy. I think it's got to be the Klans or something. That's what I think personally.
Despite those efforts, somebody or some people have a different idea. A wooden cross was set afire tonight at the corner of Brunswick and Jefferson. We arrived as Buffalo firefighters were dousing the flames. Councilman Herb Bellamy said he was shocked by this latest incident.
I really don't know what to say at this point, so close. This is going to frighten the community more now, I think. I really don't know what to say. This is the first time I ever saw a cross burning in my life.
Most people in the neighborhood did not want to go on camera, but some couldn't hold back their comments.
Yo, man, they gotta stop this stuff, man. I'm serious. They come out here and they're gonna kill people up, right? They're doing all this. The police department ain't doing too much about it, I guess. Ain't caught nobody yet.
If it was a black man, he would have been under the jail. That's all I can say. We've been under the jail.
The DA's arson task force is now in the case. These men will soon be joined by members of the Buffalo Police Department.
It was built with a bit of time put into it. If you notice, there's parts of this cross here that were nailed on. There's a nail. There's a nail here. So whoever did it took some time building it. It was then saturated in some kind of flammable liquid, which our laboratories will be able to determine, I'm sure, and then set on fire. But whoever built this spent a few minutes at it, put some thought into it, and then ignited and left the area.
Tonight, Daniel Acker, head of the local NAACP branch, called for the National Guard to be brought out to this area. How do you feel about that?
I feel at this point it should be called. I'm for it 100%.
You don't think the presence of armed soldiers might make matters worse?
I don't think so, because we need protection now. It's a warning signal. I think we need protection now.
Arson investigators were quick to respond to the cross burning, and every bit of evidence will be studied to try and find out who is behind the ugly demonstration and perhaps the rash of brutal slayings that took the lives of 6 black males. Rich Newberg, News 4 Update. Today, 25-year-old Joseph Christopher, a Buffalo Army private, was believed to be the man indicted for these murders. But there are still 4 Buffalo murders remaining open in this investigation. Another .22 caliber killing in Niagara Falls, the shooting victim, 43-year-old Joseph McCoy. The October murder of 71-year-old cab driver Parler Edwards, whose heart was cut out and whose mutilated body was found in the trunk of his taxi near the Thruway's Williamsville toll barrier. and the murder the following day of another cab driver, 40-year-old Ernest Jones, whose heart was also cut out and whose body was found on the shore of the Niagara River near the end of Sheridan Drive in the town of Tonawanda. And finally, the New Year's Day stabbing death of Roger Adams, waiting for a bus on Broadway in Buffalo. But that's not where the probe ends. Today, Rochester police were visiting Buffalo to gather information on their probe in the death of Wendell Barnes, also stabbed, like Adams, in the chest by a white male. Rochester police now have pictures of Joseph Christopher to take back to Rochester.
Well, we picked up photographs, a set of fingerprints, and some background information on the individual under investigation up here. We've studied the case files on the other assaults up here. We're studying the similarities to see if we can come up with a link.
So extradition proceedings for Joseph Christopher, now in Fort Benning, will begin almost immediately to bring him back to Buffalo to stand trial for the first 3 of the .22 caliber killings. Meanwhile, the inquiries into the remaining 4 killings in Buffalo, 4 killings in New York City, and 1 killing in Rochester will continue. Rich Newberg, News 4, Buffalo.
It began here, Madison Avenue, between 40th and 41st Streets, 3:30 p.m. A 19-year-old male black Hispanic stabbed once in the heart, dead.
Apparently it all began as a robbery. At least the victim's wallet was missing. The stabber was described as being male, white, about 40 years of age, 5'7", 140 pounds. He was described as wearing a blue cap, a blue ski jacket, and dark trousers. And, the most telling thing, wire-framed glasses.
3 blocks south, 5 avenues west, approximately 1/2 mile.
This time, 37th Street and 7th Avenue, in front of 500 7th Avenue. His victim, male, black, in his 30s. One plunge of the knife through his outer clothing, into the chest, into the heart, and the victim falls dead.
The stabber then moves north, again about 1/2 mile, now into the Midtown Theater District.
Here in front of 224 West 49th Street, the stabber strikes again. Again, one stab wound to the heart, the victim falls dead. The victim, male, black. This time the stabber has changed his appearance at least. No longer wearing the blue cap or the blue ski jacket. Now identified as wearing a gray cap and a full-length gray, possibly tweed overcoat. The one constant, those wire-framed glasses.
The stabber reverses his field now and heads back south to 33rd Street.
The stabber strikes again. His victim, once again, male black. The victim, heavily dressed for the cold, cold weather. Nevertheless, the stabber is able to, with one slash of that knife, stab through all of his outer garments and plunge that knife into his chest cavity. The stabber runs away. The victim, seen staggering a few steps toward 7th Avenue, and then drops dead in the street.
A special task force of some 30 detectives fanned out over the 20-block area this morning, questioning storekeepers and office workers, trying to compile a detailed description of the stabber.
He's either extremely strong or very skilled in his use of the knife. How would you say?
Or incredibly poor luck in this instance. We don't know. The medical examiner is looking at that at the present time to tell us precisely how that was done.
Wendell Barnes had been waiting at this bus stop Tuesday morning. Shortly after 7:30, a white man he apparently did not know struggled with him briefly, stabbed him, and then ran. Barnes also ran, stumbling up Main Street to this McDonald's, where he asked for help. Less than an hour later, he was dead. While city police responded immediately, they turned up few substantial clues. This morning, they were back again.
Sources very close to this investigation have told me that some reports now circulating in Buffalo may have already convicted Joseph Christopher in the press, although the man hasn't even been charged in the .22 caliber killing case. In a Columbus Inquirer newspaper article today, readers were told Christopher's name will not be published here unless he is charged with the .22 caliber killings. And Christopher's own Army-appointed attorney, Major Donald Morgan, told me today he won't even comment at all on the case for fear his client's chances for a fair trial on the attempted murder charge at Fort Benning would be jeopardized. Private Christopher is something of a mystery to many on base. He was never photographed with the rest of his battalion, apparently reporting for basic training after the group photos were taken. Those in his barracks say he attended church every Sunday, but that he allegedly stabbed a black soldier in an unprovoked attack before church one Sunday in January.
It was alleged that Christopher took a small knife and attacked a black soldier from the rear by grasping him around the throat and stabbing him in the rib cage and in the armpit.
Unprovoked?
Completely unprovoked.
DA Cosgrove has been under a lot of pressure to produce a suspect in the .22 caliber killings case. There have certainly been a lot of coincidences here involving Christopher, leading to a lot of speculation. Now it's up to Cosgrove to decide if the evidence is strong enough to link Christopher to the killings. Rich Newberg, News 4, Fort Benning.